I get a call that I was needed in Vietnam. Well, I'm for sure if the war needed me, they were in bad shape. I found out that they were going to reactivate the Riverine Force, which the concept hadn't been used since the Civil War. The Riverine forces, they had Navy in boats rather than ships, fighting up and down the rivers, and also supporting Army or landing Army operations in the rivers. So we had to reinvent this whole thing for Vietnam. My main responsibility was to provide the logistic and supply support and the procedures for the whole operations. As you become senior, you have more responsibility and you have more people under you, but the weight gets a little heavier, you know. But we did it, and we did a good job. When we first went in the country, we landed at an area called near Vung Tau, which was the river that leads to Saigon. Our first function was to clean out all of the VC along the river to Saigon so we could open up shipping. During the Tet, we were pulling all the PBR bases out, going in and getting them out. We got a call from Can Tho where one of my buddies, one of our local buddies, Tom Precious, was at, and they were surrounded by VC, about to be overrun. So we went across from the Mekong to the Can Tho River up near Xin Long, and we made a run down there to Can Tho. So we got in there, and we fought about 5 days in there. We surrounded about 3,000, and we figured we killed half of them before they went through the line and back into the bush. But we had a kill ratio of 10 or 20 to 1. And I'm sure they were burning a lot of stuff, but they were taking a whack. When we were ashore, you know, I usually set up, and when the flares would go up first, and then the siren would go off when we were under attack. And always, you know, you got so used to it that I used to set up in my bunk there and put on my flak vest, put on my helmet, and grab my pistol and go out the door. For some reason, one time, I didn't set up. I rolled out of my bunk, and they stitched right across our barracks with a AK-47. Sappers had got in. And you know, why do you do that? See, somebody's watching over you. When I first got into the country, you're always really, really scared for about 2 or 3 weeks until you get used to. But you also get scared the last 2 weeks. And so as I'm getting close to the time I was going to rotate, I told the chief, you know, I said, boy, I'll tell you, I'm really getting antsy again. Well, he had a couple of the repairmen bring a piece of armor plate up and put it alongside my bunk on the hull of the ship. He said, does that make you feel better? I said, you bet.
We moved to Italy. We're there for 3 years, and Dave worked for NATO there.
I went to Italy, and I was the budget officer for the NATO Anti-Submarine Research Center in La Spezia, Italy.
The kids went to the NATO school. They met all kinds of wonderful friends because they were all from different countries.
We had a real fabulous time there, though, because whenever I had to go to a meeting, I would usually take 2 weeks leave in conjunction and take my family, and we'd go to Portugal, and we went to Brussels, and we toured everywhere, and also we were able to go to Yugoslavia and visit Fran's ancestors over there. We went down to Dubrovnik, and all the Adriatic coast is just beautiful in Yugoslavia. And they've got Roman ruins there that are better than the ruins in Italy because they haven't been deteriorating, you know. So it was a fabulous time. But
when we left Italy, we came back to Virginia Beach, and Dave was stationed in North Virginia.
I came back and I became comptroller of the submarine forces in the Atlantic.
From there we went up to Washington, D.C. again. We lived in Annandale.
We got to see all the festivities, and we tried to take at least a once or twice a month and go visit some place in Washington, D.C. We never did see them all. And then from there I went to the IG, which is Inspector General, and we were stationed in Atlanta, Georgia.
During that time, we just met wonderful, wonderful people, and they correspond to us, if it not at any other time, at Christmas time.
If I were to summarize my career, I'd say, as a man, as the man, it was a fabulous career. It had every high and low you could think of. You saw so many things in the world. You were able to associate with so many different people and different cultures. For the wife, it was not that happy, because especially during conflict, she's over there and she doesn't know whether she's ever going to see you again. And then when you're at sea, you're gone, and all the kids are growing up, and the bills are coming in, and you have to give the wives more credit than the men, because it's an adventure and it's a roller coaster ride you can't believe. After retiring, you do have a certain advantage, because I was able to go back to Central again and get an education degree, and I taught school, subbed, and I enjoyed that, and I did that for about 10 years or more. And then I was a driver's ed teacher, and that was a thrill. And then they needed a bus driver for a couple months because they couldn't find one, and being a driver's ed teacher, I had all the safety certificates and all of that, so I said, okay, I'll do that. Well, then 9 years later, 10 years later, I stopped driving bus. In the meantime, I was elected as the mayor, and I've been in the fire department. It's been 21 years in the fire department. I was an EMT on the ambulance, and so I've been as busy or busier retired than I was when I was supposedly working.
I wanted to continue working in my government service, and so I worked for the Forest Service in Cle Elum for 12 years. And then I retired from that, and then I opened a little shop in the old company store here in Roslyn, and it was called Fran's Wanderings, and I had all kinds of really nice things from all over the world, and it was a gift shop. I opened a craft shop in the old boarding house next door, and I had that for the duration of Northern Exposure while they were filming here. Then my daughters and myself talked about opening a gift store here, because my oldest daughter makes Victorian lampshades, and Carla said that it would be great to open one. So Carla opened the store, and the Victorian Shade and Lace here in Roslyn, and I managed it up until now. And then now I'm heading to a new venture here, managing Carla's floral shop, and I think I'm really going to enjoy that. Our family, I can say, is probably one of the closest families I know of. I mean, because we do everything together.
The thing about my children I have to admire is that we moved, I believe we counted up one time, 22 times. And this sometime would be this twice to the same time, or 2 or 3 times in the same town. But the kids my son went to about 6 different schools. And we were always worried that this would, be a real detriment. And then they went to school in the NATO school in Europe. But in reality, it was, I think, a real benefit for the children, because every one of them can get along anywhere they live.
I've learned a lot of values, most of all family values. The family means everything. When you have your family, you have everything. That to me is the main thing, because our family is like that now, and I would hope that it would continue.
Our married life, although there was the separations, there was always that honeymoon when you come back from sea. So, we've had so many happy moments, but most of them because of the family and the kids.
There is nothing I wouldn't do for my family. And that's what we're so lacking nowadays, I think, in children. And I hope that